Without warning, the abbot swung his powerful bulk in my direction, his beetle brows coming together fiercely over a strange half-smile. He managed to appear both sardonic and ingratiating. I waited for his opening sally. I suppose you think the performance you gave at the King's audience today was quite successful. You no doubt believe you have blocked my mission here at court. I don't understand your meaning, Abbé, I replied, busying myself by tasting the soup that had just been set before me. I merely gave an honest opinion when the King asked for it. My advice has nothing to do with you. My brother's realm is my concern. He placed his elbow on the table and propped his chin with his hand, affecting a focus on me that was meant to be disconcerting. His tone was low, intense, provocative. I don't know what your motive is, my lady, but I knew from our first encounter last evening that you have designated yourself my principal adversary here at court. He pursed his lips thoughtfully. I glanced at him and saw hostility written broad across his face. But I know you and those like you. Your faith is weak, and you will not triumph in the end. They say you have special gifts, but we know the source of those gifts, don't we? Now I stopped eating and turned to look full at him. I let the silence between us run to an uncomfortable length as I waited for him to fill it. Finally, as I had hoped, he went a step too far. Perhaps you can exercise your so-called special gift, Princess, and help the King see where his interest will lie in the future now that John of England has him on the run in the West. He needs all the allies he can get, my lady. He should not be making enemies at this time. You, who can tell the future, it is said, should know that. I forgot to mention that. The abbot turned back to the table and appeared absorbed in stirring small pieces of dates into his almond cream pudding. So casual was he that I wondered for a moment if I had heard the words correctly. Then he added, just as you no doubt knew ahead of time, through your special gifts, what would befall the young knight of Lord William's household today at the tournament? The servant set a plate of sweetmeats before me, giving me time to take a long breath and gather my wits. The last question had caught me off guard. The memory of young Jeff and his death was still raw, but I held in my anger and did not respond. Carefully, I brought a piece of raisin cake to my mouth, chewed it thoughtfully, and washed it down with a splash of wine before I answered. Oh, special gifts, I murmured. I don't understand what you mean by such a term, Abbé. Well, let me be clear then. Rumor has it that you have powers most of us ordinary mortals lack. He ran his tongue around his lips as if savoring some special delicacy. It is said that you are marked, that you can see things others cannot, visions and such. He made a rolling motion with his ham-like hands. I thought perhaps you could see what will happen if the Cathars are allowed to run free in the south. What a threat, here he paused for effect, the war that is sure to come could pose to a France already weakened by the English army's victories. I had a flash of desire to ask him how he knew about the English victories, but I chose the other path. I knew this exchange would define our future dealings. With just a little more effort, we would finally have honesty between us, and then there would be no going back. Well, Abbé, I lay claim to no such gift as you describe. A gift I believe is known as second sight. To admit that I have this gift, as you must know, would surely be a danger in these times. I pulled my malformed hand from its pocket and removed the glove from it. I deliberately laid my arm in front of me along the edge of the table so that the claw almost touched his arm, resting on the table. If I did have such a gift, I could never admit it. Holy Mother Church might look upon me as a witch, an aberration, just as she looks on the heretics of the South. And we know the fate of witches and heretics, do we not? I looked straight into his eyes. He held my gaze, but I could feel his bulk pull back slightly. I knew he had glanced at my withered hand when I laid it before him. He must know the peasants thought such a misfortune to be the sign of a witch. The abbot was using every part of his will not to stare at it. A man of learning, he he still had just enough superstition to be afraid. Je crois que vous avez raison, princess, he finally agreed. He scanned my face and then added, it is surely not a gift you would want to flaunt, not in these times. Let us understand one another, Abbé. I leaned my head closer to him as if I were about to impart a state secret of immense importance. I am a princess of the House of Capet, a daughter of the kings of France. I am not an ignorant farm woman to be cowed, nor am I afraid of men. You have your realm of power, and I have my own. Let us each respect the other's province. I carefully pulled the glove back over the withered hand, looking all the while at the prelate. Or let us openly declare war. I withdrew the hand out of sight and laid it in my lap, sitting back in my chair. I had seen him flinch, and that was enough for me. I turned away and made an effort to take no